So I want to tell you a little story about me. You may or may not know, I grew up in East Tennessee and went to college in the same town where I went to high school. It was the only place I got a full ride. I didn't want to stay home. I wanted to go far away. But I stayed home because it was the only place I got a full ride. I actually lived on campus, but the college is in the same town where I grew up. But that college is where I began, Maryville College is where I began to find myself. It's where I met my husband. It's where I met some of my best friends that are still some of my best friends. From there, I went to physical therapy school. So in 2006, I graduated with my doctorate degree in physical therapy. And I practiced as a physical therapist for 10 years. 5 years before we had kids, and then 2 years after we had kids. And I love being a therapist. The things that I love most about being a physical therapist are being able to empower other people to take charge of their physical health, to be able to educate them so that they understand how their body works, so that I can help them be more independent and be more aware of their physical health. That was my favorite part of my job. I never felt like it was my job as a physical therapist to heal people, right? Or to do the work for them. I was far more interested in empowering them to really take charge and do things right for themselves. I love being a physical therapist. Then all of the insurance regulations started coming down the pike, and it got to be very frustrating. I love working with my patients. I would go to work and love working with my patients, but I would come home with migraines most days because I just hated the red tape and the paperwork and insurance companies telling me what I could and couldn't do. And it was very, very frustrating to me because I wanted to help people. I wanted to help them, and I felt like my hands were being tied, and it was very, very frustrating to me. So around the same time, we adopted our first child, and then our son, and then about a year later, we adopted our daughter. And we had some pretty significant health crises with both of them in the early part of their life. Health crises that I wasn't getting solutions for. Traditional medicine wasn't offering me solutions. And our pediatrician in Chattanooga actually suggested that we use a couple of essential oils to help support their bodies through a couple of things. And then a friend of mine here in Knoxville said, hey, you should use thieves oil because it'll really support their immune system. And at that point, y'all, I was totally desperate. I was desperate. My kids were sick all the time. I was having to miss so much work that I was afraid I was going to lose my job. And I hated to see my kids suffer more than anything else. I just hated to see them so miserable and not be able to do anything to help them. I think for me, being a mom, the hardest part about being a mom is when things happen to your kids that you can't control or that you can't help. That was really hard for me. And I didn't know what to do. I didn't know that there was an option out there. So when my friend said you should try these, I said, okay. What I didn't know is that would change our lives in so many ways. What we found is that our kids still get sick, sure, but their immune systems are better able to fight. And so they tend to kick things to the curb really quickly. They're healthier overall, right? And I have seen a drastic change in their health. I feel like for the first time that I was doing something for them, that I was helping them recover and I was supporting their bodies naturally. I wasn't giving them medications with all of these crazy, crazy side effects. So it was super empowering to me. It was very empowering to me. And so I started telling people about it because I can't keep good news like that to myself, right? You guys, when I eat a great steak, when I find a really great product that I love, I tell people about it. We all do that, right? So I started telling people about oils because they were changing us. one system at a time, we were seeing just massive changes in our family. And so I started telling people, and people would get their own oils from us. And then they started seeing these massive changes in their family. And this grew into a very unintentional business for me. I never thought I would own my own business. Never imagined in a million years that it would be for a network marketing company. But what I found is that within a year, I had replaced my part-time income as a physical therapist. And so I was able to leave my part-time job, be home with my kids, which is something I had always had a desire to do, but I never believed it would be possible. I never believed that I could even have the opportunity to do this. And I had the opportunity to do that, to work from home, which was amazing. It was amazing. And at that point, I still didn't really even understand the magnitude of what this could be for our family. And then things just kept happening. We kept finding more and more healthcare solutions. More people kept joining our team. I've now been able to replace my full-time income as a physical therapist. And you know what the cool thing is about this? Is that what I do every day for a living, I still get to empower and educate people to take charge of their own health. Right? I'm doing the same thing that I was doing as a physical therapist. Of course, it's different. It's not in clinical practice. It's a very different modality. Right? But I'm still empowering people. I'm still educating people. I am helping people find wellness and freedom for their families. And it has been the most amazing journey that I've ever taken. And I'm so excited about what the future looks like for this, because the sky's the limit. The sky's the limit. We're adding so many new people to our team every month. And what we find is that the paycheck for me is just a happy bonus. Like, it's a lovely bonus that I get paid to do this. The thing that brings me to my knees in gratitude are the stories when people text me and say, oh my gosh, this worked. This worked. This pain point that I had, this thing that we had that we couldn't find a solution to, we have a solution to it now. Thank you. I mean, that is what brings me to my knees in gratitude. The times where my son was walking into school, he had his first science fair project, and he said to me with tears in his eyes, Mom, will you stay with me? I'm so scared. Will you stay with me? And I opened my mouth to tell him that I had to go to work, and I realized that I didn't have to go to work. And I literally almost fell to the floor in that moment, like in such gratitude that I could be with him, because that was something that was so important to me. Now listen, all you working mamas, I am not passing judgment, right? I thought that would be my future forever, but my desire was to be home with my children. And I didn't know that I would ever be able to do that. And I am able to do that and bring the income that my family needs. And I am so grateful for the rest of my life. I will be eternally grateful to Young Living, to the wellness that it's brought to my family, and the emotional freedom, the physical wellness, the mental wellness. The physical wellness is a very small part of the wellness that we found through Young Living. Emotional healing is a really amazing thing. Okay? The paycheck, again, is a happy bonus, but I'm able to be home with my children. I'm able to do the things I only dreamed about and still bring the income that my family needs from me. And be available to them when they need me to stay because they're scared for a science fair project. When they need me to bring their lunch because we forgot it at home. When my husband needs me to do something to help him, I'm available to do that. Because I have the freedom to work from home, and I'm so, so grateful. This is something that everyone can have. It is my desire to empower everyone in our group, all of my friends and family, everyone that we love, to have the same freedom. Would you join me?